have a bean that's, a French roast or an Italian roast or, different flavors coffees. On the pour, it's a fresh, like some people always ask, how fresh is your coffee? Well, this coffee right here would be extremely fresh because it's poured straight into your cup. It's not something that's been sitting in a thermos for 2 hours before given to you. It's something that's made right for you. Other coffees we have the obvious espresso. We have obvious the lattes and the mochas and the different frappuccinos. A whole slew of different options for coffee. We have AeroPresses, which is kind of like an espresso, but it's done on a shorter nose with hot water. We have different teas. And with every coffee, we also have different flavorings. You can take any general bean and then just cross flavor anything. Coconut and caramels and chocolates and hazelnuts, and you can add fruit too. As weird as that sounds, you can do like a white chocolate raspberry coffee or like a dark chocolate cherry. The possibilities are endless. I think someone said there's a donut shop. They have a lot of flavors too. You combine all the flavors, you have over 100,000, mix match combos. I don't know if we have that much, but we have a lot more. It's almost like that scene in Forrest Gump where the guy's asking, "What kind of shrimp do you have?" That's what kind of coffee I have. Everything under the sun.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, well, one of our viewers told us, I'm glad we have viewers out there because they told us that we didn't have sound, so we didn't have sound for like the first couple minutes.
That's fine.
We're going to go back and cover a little bit of that. So thank you, audience. I'm glad we had people in the audience who were actually watching the show because they prompted us that it was muted here for a little bit, so I apologize for that. I was a little bit crazy getting it set up here, and I forgot to unmute myself as we came on. But you guys, there's sound now, so we're going to back up just a little bit and talk about the origination of Perkies, right? So Perkies, again, started about 10 years ago in your head, right?
Yeah. About 10 years ago in my head, it was my wife and I and some friends sitting together. We came up with the idea. We had the idea with a coffee shop next to her salon, which was next to a continuation school where the kids just kind of hung out. And we thought, if we put a coffee shop there, you'd have a built-in clientele between the hair salon and the continuation school. But the hair salon eventually ended up moving locations, and a major competitor ended up moving in as far as coffee-wise. And that kind of squished the idea, so I bounced around the same general location, but each time I bounced around, there was another competitor that was opening a coffee shop. It was kind of crazy. And of all those competitors, and it's funny, this is 10 years ago, none of them ever opened. One opened for a short bit and was out of business in 4 months. Yeah. That's kind of crazy. All of us kind of knew, hey, there's someone major coming in town, and everyone backed away, and then I was left with nobody. If I would have known, I could have opened, but my clientele left my salon and left, and the high school kids eventually ended up moving out. I would have been a nice shop in the middle of nowhere.
Bummer. Okay. So then we jumped into one of the reasons why you ultimately started this shop was to help kids to get their first job, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So out of a labor of love, to give back to the community, to be a pillar of the community, which you are already in many different ways, you decided, I need to do this. I need to help kids get their first job. And one of the reasons for that was because the economy kind of tanked. And you said, I can make a difference. I can do something to make a difference.
Absolutely. So, I can definitely, the timing was perfect that I saw the kids, I saw the arguments on TV about the increase of minimum wage, and adults were essentially fighting for entry-level jobs. And when an adult fights for an entry-level job, it pushes the kids out of the job market. So I didn't see that as a good thing. I've worked my entire life, and to me, it was an opportunity. I can open up a place and hire kids to give kids their first job. So that's what I did.
Right. And that's so cool because probably your first job out of high school or even out of college is one of the hardest to get. And so if you have somebody here like Travis who's giving kids an opportunity to have their first job, and not only just have their first job, but he cares about them. He not only wants to train them to work here, right? You want to train them to have a general understanding of business.
Absolutely. I think the general public is, I don't want to use the word, they're just kind of in the dark on what it takes to start a business, run a business, the impact of things like taxes and purchasing and shipping, just the whole, everything, payroll, all the stuff that goes into a business. I'm pretty sure that the public is unaware of. They have an idea, but I think they miss the mark by a lot. So if I can show the kids the simple concepts of business, then it'll better help everyone else. You never know. The next kid could be the next politician that's making the rules up for us. It's a trickle effect.
And if he comes to the table as a politician with an understanding of business, that just helps all the business owners everywhere. It helps the economy in general too.
Absolutely.
Have that
Absolutely.
foundation, right?
Yeah.
So tell us. So you have 5 jobs right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Your first job is what?
I am a teacher by day. I teach 4th grade. Then I do this at nighttime. In between, I manage properties. I negotiate my contracts for our union. We have about 200 people in our union. I help negotiate that contract for us. And then I've written books looking to get published. So I have my feet in so many. I have my hands in so many jars. I sometimes don't know how I do it either. But at least the good part about being a teacher sometimes is that the time off in the summer allows you to focus on other things. So I'm focusing on my business at the moment.
That's nice.
And then trying to get some time to squeeze in my books too.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, so I think we were muted when we talked about your lovely and amazing wife. So you told us that you're coming up on your 20th year anniversary.
I am.
So how did you and your wife meet again?
My wife and I met. I was dating one of her fellow co-workers. So, but we went to the same high school. My wife and I are close in age. We're less than a year apart, but 2 different grades. I'm a grade older than her. And we saw each other in passing in high school. Never dated, but had the same friends because that's what you do at the same high school. Everyone knows everyone. And then afterwards, I dated one of her co-workers, and that didn't really work out too well. And I became friendly with my wife, and the rest is history. We got 2 kids. 2 kids. I got a 16-year-old and a soon-to-be 15-year-old, which that's both amazing to me. I just had my wife's coming on her 40th birthday. I just had mine about 6 months ago. So we've spent half of our life married to each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. Okay, so I think we also missed a little bit of the presentation over here with the coffee. So you hang out here.
Sure.
I'm going to go back and show. We'll get into the coffee, some of the coffee offerings that you have here.
Absolutely.
I think this process is really, really cool. So go ahead and start talking through the process, and I'm going to go over there.
Oh, very cool.
And yeah. Cool.
Some of the things we have here at Perkies is we have what's called a cold drip system. It's a different way of making coffee. It's kind of the opposite of an espresso. So if you have an espresso machine, you're forcing hot water through like a very fine ground coffee, and you pull out a lot of acid, a lot of bitterness, and a lot of caffeine in an espresso shot, right? This machine here is a cold drip system. The top part is loaded with ice, and the ice melts into a little catch container there that has coffee grounds in it. It's a slow process because you have to actually wait for ice to melt. As the ice melts, it goes through the coffee grounds and into that collection reservoir on the bottom. Now, what makes this this type of brewing unique is the ice that's melting is creating cold water, which is opposite to an espresso, which is forced hot water. This isn't even forced. This is just one drop at a time. And it works its way through the grounds at a cold temperature, leaving the oils behind in the bean and coming out with kind of a bolder taste at the bottom. It's low in acidity because there's no oils being pulled through the bean. It's low in caffeine, and it's also low in bitterness. So it makes for a fantastic iced coffee or a Vietnamese coffee. I've noticed some of the stores in town serve this as a concentrate. It does take a while. You have to wait for that ice to melt, and that ice takes, you're talking 6 hours to make 2 cups of coffee. But it's a very unique process. For my valley, I'm the only one in town that has this. There's a couple places in Pasadena, a couple places in LA that have it. It'll become more and more popular as the chain stores start carrying it. And then this other system I have here is, this is called a pour over. And what pour overs are is people order a particular type of bean they like, kind of like wine. Every region of the world has a grape, and the grape has a certain flavor. Like California's got some great wines. There's different parts of the world that have coffee beans that have a certain flavor to the area, like Rwanda or Kenya or Sumatra or Colombia, Venezuela. Each part has its own flavor bean. So if someone wants to try a particular flavor of bean, we take the bean as a whole bean, we grind it up, we load it into the top container up here. Let's see, right in this area here. We pour water through it, and it goes fresh into the cup. So it's a fresh cup of coffee. It's not something that's been in a thermos for a couple hours. It's exactly what you want. And if you want to try a different bean, we can do a Colombian bean one day, we can do a Rwandan bean another day, we can do a Conan bean, we can do some sort of island blend. And it's a fresh cup of coffee straight into the cup. There's a few people in town that do it this way also.
Okay. I'm going to jump in there and show some of the art and then some of the offerings up on the board.
Oh, for sure.
If you want to talk about what you're doing with the art and the students.
Oh, very good. When I started this whole thing, I couldn't hire all the kids. So what I did is I gave kids a chance of taking the local high school art departments, letting the kids create some of the work, and then allowing the kids to sell the work just right off my wall. It's a good way to put money in the kids' hands. That contributes to the economy. It's a good way to get the art departments kind of involved. That way the kids aren't just creating something in school and then it goes to nothing. And then for local artists, it gives them a chance to showcase some of their work so that they can generate an extra income also. So it's kind of a way to pull the community together for different reasons. This is kind of my little thank you board. I got to add a lot to it, and what it is it says the different organizations that I continue to help out to raise money for causes. I've raised stuff for a couple different elementary schools, a couple different athletic programs, a couple different art programs, some missionary trips, people going to other countries to preach. Anything I can do to help out people is kind of what I've done. And I put it on my wall. It's my thank you to the community for coming and shopping in my store, because of that I'm able to give back. I don't know if everyone else does that.
Tell us about Frap Friday.
Frap Friday. Oh, Frap Friday is really cool. Frap Friday is where you get our large frap for the price of a medium. So if you're, depending on where you're at in the country, our large frap is, it's the mid $4 range, but our medium is $3.75. So if you were to come over on a Friday to Frap Friday, you would get a large frap for $3.75. So if you go to any of our competitors, their small fraps are more expensive than that. So you would get a large for cheaper than you could anywhere else for their small.
Also tell us about Waffle Wednesday.
Oh, Waffle Wednesday. I have some of the best I have the best waffles in town. What we do is we take our Belgian waffles, and they're about an 8-inch by 2-inch, 8-inch by 1.5 waffle, and we fold it in half. We stuff it with cream cheese, pie filling, whipped cream, and then we top it off with either a caramel or chocolate, depending on what you get. And it's folded in half like a sandwich. It's our waffle sandwich. And what we do with these is we sell them for $3, which is amazing, because if you go to any local cafe, you're not going to get a regular waffle with just maple syrup for $3. These things are monstrous. When we first started these things, the containers on them were not big enough. We had these containers that were 5 inches by 2 inches, but that didn't even cut it. We had to end up going out and buy these 5 inches by 9 inches just to fit our waffles in. And if you come in on a Wednesday, you get any of our waffles for $3. Our waffles have more food than most of your little fast food chain full breakfasts. So, very cool, very cool. Thanks for that tour, Jim.
Anything else you want to tell us about the store before we close our live on location? Is there anything else?
Yeah, there's a couple of things.
Sure.
If you're in the area, I have some other ads that are going out in the next week or so, but one way to build this particular business to hire more people is I started a delivery process to where people can phone in their orders, and as long as they're within 5 miles, we'll bring your coffee, we'll bring your cinnamon rolls, we'll bring your waffles, whatever. We'll bring it to your front door. So we have a delivery service. Most other coffee shops, you got to go into the coffee shop, or a lot of coffee shops have reverted to drive-throughs, so you don't have to get out of your car. We got it to where you don't have to get out of your house. You know, especially the high school kids. Hey, high school kids are waking up at 10 o'clock. You might not have a car, but you still want to get your frap. Give us a call. We'll drop off your fraps to your house.
It's awesome. Yeah. So if people wanted to just check out, do you have a website or a Facebook page, or how can they find you?
You can find us at perkiescoffeehouse.com. And that Haus is spelled H-A-U-S, German, H-A-U-S, so we can pronounce it Haus, Perkies Coffee House. You can find us on Facebook, Perkies Coffee House. The funnest thing I like to do is Instagram. If you go to my Instagram and friend us on Instagram, we take pictures, we give out deals every day, several times a day. So you can find us on Twitter. You can find us just about everywhere. Every social media outlet, man. I got everything. We got the website, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Yelp, the Twitter. We got it all. The Google Mail.
You are covered to the max.
I'm covered to the max. But so far, Instagram, Facebook, and my website are the best ways to see what we have.
That's awesome. You know what? Perkies is my favorite coffee house. I'm here all the time. I'm doing business, doing a lot. Travis can vouch for that.
Absolutely.
I bring a lot of people in here, do a lot of business over here because I just love to support this guy. I support anyone who has a love for kids and just wants to do what he's doing. So anything I can do to help you grow this business, I'm there.
Very good, man. Thanks. I appreciate stuff like that.
Cool. Well, thank you, Travis.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. And I hope you guys enjoyed a little snippet of life here in Quartzville and life at Perkies Coffee House. Thanks for having us, Travis, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you, audience. You guys have been great. Thank you for the engagement during the show. I loved it. Thank you for cluing me in that I had muted like half the show. And we'll see you next week on Get Busy with Kit and Jim, Tuesday at 8 a.m. Thank you, guys.